Hey, what a dooski do, and I got a question for you. Are you ready for some football? Yeah, you love you some football, don't you? See, I grew up on football games, and with the return of EA College Football 25, your girl was expecting it to be a lot of just football discourse going on, because I've been fiending since 2K5, if we really being honest. But people a little bit more mixed on it. You see, with college football back and Madden still being mid, the market's really craving something. And you see, me, I'm happy for the people that's happy playing college football. But I miss the streets. I belong to the streets.
She belongs to the streets.
The NFL streets. Now, if you don't remember NFL Street, allow for your girl to elucidate for a minute. See, NFL Street was peak gaming, and I'm going to tell you all about it. So go ahead, subscribe, hit that like button, and be sure you're ready, because I'm going to go ahead and blow your mind for the streets. Part 1. The streets keep calling. Now, the first question we gotta ask is, how did this even come to be? And, well, back in the 2000s, this was the era of crunk, the era of Ignis, the era of blang blang with a stupid chain and a set of big rings and spinning rims that keep spinning and spinning and spinning and spinning. We talk about that Ignis where AI met Allen Iverson, where your favorite player had a rap record. This is back when Paul Mooney once said, everybody want to be a nigga, but don't nobody want to be a nigga, because suburbs went crazy for this. See, this is where you have people talk about how players was thugs. And EA, ever the opportunist, was like, well, if players are thugs and kids want to be thugs, that's all right, give them a little bit.
EA Sports. Big.
This is where NBA Street first drops, and you get people going crazy for it, selling dummy numbers, right? But it can't just be about NBA. So then you get FIFA, and you get my personal favorite, NFL Street.
Part 2.
It's time. It's game time. Now, NFL Street, you could say, was about being real, especially in how the marketing was about it. They were straight up saying, yeah, no, they can't really play with skill, but it's gonna look good.
This is style over strategy.
They had style points, they had crazy tackles. It was super arcadey, right? Now, a lot of criticism of Madden is that it's arcade and not simulation, but NFL Street was pure arcade. We talking about some midway NFL Blitz type arcade, but it was so good. The albums that they put on that mug too, we talk about some of the greatest rap and rock songs that you could throw on a video game soundtrack. You heard me? We talk about Korn, we talk about Killer Mike, we talk about Lil Flip, we talk about everybody going crazy on this one. You heard me? And then we got to talk about the game breakers. Now see, when you think of a game breaker, you think about a glitch or something like that. But in NFL Street, a game breaker was God mode, you hear me? Once you unlocked it by getting some style points, by just dunking on your opponent, you could do whatever you want to. For one play, it made you untackleable. It made you unstoppable. You want to throw a dime to somebody, it's a dotty, and they can't do nothing to stop you from scoring. It was so good. And if you had two players with game breakers, well, then it was a matter of who gonna use it best and who gonna use it first and who gonna use it worst. And it was so good. This is how you could lose hours on this one, you hear me? I love me some NFL Street. But then it got even better, because then they brought out NFL Street 2. We talk about a better soundtrack. We talking about more game modes. We talking about everything that you liked about NFL Street and more. See, I wasn't playing NFL Street 1 like that. Like, I was playing it like that, but I wasn't playing it like I was playing NFL Street 2. Now, that's where I sunk all of my hours in. See, little thing about me, as a girl, I'm a bit of a sequel kind of whore. See, you give me Power Stone, I'm happy. But you give me Power Stone 2, I'm going crazy. You give me Pokemon Red, I'm cool. You give me Pokemon Gold and Silver, yeah, I'm cheesing. When we get back to NFL Street, everything about it is objectively better in my opinion. You know, they change up the roster, they give you more soundtracks like I told you. Like, the soundtrack for NFL Street 1 was good, but the soundtrack for NFL Street 2, with Bishop Lamont, with your drowning pool, with your MOP, if you don't know MOP, you gotta put it in the air. NFL Street 2 had all of that and more because they brought back game breakers, but in a major way. Because see, unlike NFL Street where a game breaker and a game breaker just meet up, they had Game Breaker 2. And Game Breaker 2 was a cutscene that was an automatic win button. As a matter of fact, you throw a pass and they got a defensive game breaker, well, that's an interception or a fumble. Matter of fact, whatever you want to do offensively or defensively with a Game Breaker 2 is in. It's done. Ain't nobody stopping you. And that's on God, bro. Now, Own the City was my favorite mode because that was a single player franchise mode where you took your little character and you became the best player that you could be. You could even import them into Madden 06. But I ain't never had Madden 06. See, I had Madden 07 and Madden 05. I skipped 06. So I ain't even know about that until one of my friends was like, oh yeah, once you beat it, you can just bring your character into Madden 06. And then we get to see how cold you really is as an 18-year-old rookie, bro. Your girlie was cheesing, G. I used to play quarterback. I like doing that a lot in every video game. But I was never like a good quarterback in real life. But I like that though. And for the rest of the modes, all my friends used to go crazy about it. I used to love playing head-to-head at NFL Street 2. That game was just always so much fun. You could lose hours in that one. We get into NFL Street 3, and I don't really know nobody that played NFL Street 3 for real, and I don't really hear too much about it. And then we get into NFL Tour. And now, if NFL Street was that unvarnished, that thug, that gangster, NFL Tour is what happens when you take all the aesthetic out and you also take out the fun gameplay, because NFL Tour was trash. It was doo-doo water. It was straight up refuse. Hot garbage. People used to blame Roger Goodell for that one, truth be told. And I'm going to do the same. I'm not going to be any different. Because see, NFL Tour was a lot cleaner, a lot more professional. It seemed like a lot more kid-friendly, and except for the fact that kids didn't like the game because the game wasn't fun.
Did you hear that? No, over there. Wait, what? What was that?
People who played NFL Tour, including myself, all came to the same conclusion: is we want the streets back. Not just because of the ghetto gangster flavor. We wanted the fun back. You take out the game breakers, you take out the joy, you take out the soundtracks, what am I playing for? And Madden has always had some hit or miss soundtracks, but NFL Tour, you won't even hear nobody talking about the songs that was in NFL Tour because it was all mid. But see, that's just kind of where the story of NFL Street really ends. You had NFL Street 1 and 2 that were peak, NFL Street 3, which was there, and then you get to NFL Tour, which basically killed any interest in a side game for real. It was around that time that Madden became the only football game you was really gonna get. And yeah, the NCAA games were around for a little bit, but it was basically just they do something interesting and then they take it out, and then they do something interesting and they take it out, and then by NCAA 14, that stops being a thing. So you don't even get that. And so you just have unbroken streaks of Madden. And we could talk about Backbreaker, which didn't do nothing. And we could talk about Blitz the League and Blitz the League 2, but they ain't do nothing. They ain't make no noise aside from being edgy. And it's sad, because we ain't never really gonna get another NFL Street. With how Roger Goodell been policing that league, we ain't gonna ever really get that. We ain't gonna get that urban gangster flavor. We ain't gonna get that stunting.
Part 3.
Click, game over. We ain't ever getting another NFL Street. And if you don't know why, it's because it's NFL Street. The NFL wants to keep the brand pure. And you can say a lot about how Madden has fallen off and how Madden isn't good and how it's tarnishing the brand, but it's really not. Because at the end of the day, it's just a video game. A lot of Madden YouTubers hate hearing that, but it's like, as long as the game isn't doing something that people could perceive as offensive, it's just going to be considered, it's a video game. So while you play it, you're like, this game sucks, the game's broken, it's buggy, people don't like it. It can't really tarnish the brand because it's just football. And for people who don't play football games, that's all it could ever really be. NFL Street was urban. It was thuggish. It was ruggish. It was bone.
It's the thuggish ruggish ball.
No. NFL Street existed in a time frame where black players were treated a certain kind of way by the league, where a black player being a little too overt in their gesturing or their taunting could lead to some very unnuanced talks about race. At the time of the last NFL Street installment, 5 NFL franchises never even had a black starting QB, because black QBs were seen as just athletes, just guys who could run. So when you look at NFL Street, it's like a time capsule. It's that Gangsta Grill's age of Americana. This is back where rap was really just being turned into a commodity, where like everybody was just flexing and wasn't really about no substance no more. But like, as you see the polish being put onto the NFL brand and how like the rough edges are sanded off. I mean, we still got players that do reprehensible stuff, but the league is clean. And so then you end up with where NFL Street could have been. Because you look at where 2K is, where they have all the cosmetics and such, and monetization is there if you want to do it, you know what I'm saying? But it's like, we are decades removed from NFL Street being a thing. And it kills me, but I mean, what else is there going to be? You know what I mean? Now, I ain't trying to end this on a sad note, you know what I mean? Because like, I miss a lot of old football games. Like, I do miss Blitz the League. I do miss NFL 2K. I miss all of that, you hear me? But all we got is Madden. And you hear all the complaints, and people always complain about Madden because Madden been bad forever now. But it's like, there is nothing gonna change on that one, you hear me? And so I just wanted to go back, take a little wistful look at nostalgia, you know. My personal favorite is NFL Street 2, but what is your personal favorite? You hear me? Did you ever play any of the street games? I need the streets! It's DUN and I'm done yapping. Deuces.